You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming. So if you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. So the last place we left off, Verissa had kind of, come in to check in on us. We kind of told her what's happened, so we're gonna see where that leads to. I hope she doesn't yell at Vul, because that would make the situation just so much worse. But anyway, guys, sit back and enjoy Let Me Tell You for the next 20 minutes, and let's jump right in, shall we? Alright, alarm chain, you're up. Okay. Alright, considering Rannick's mission might be that of a rescue, we have to prepare for the worst. This means wounded wolves. I shudder. Not the answer I wanted to get, but at the same time, I guess there's no escaping the cold truth. I need to face the harsh reality of their lives. The sooner the better. I must prepare salves and stock up on herbs. You can help me with that. Of course! I nod eagerly, but quickly my enthusiasm falters. However, I don't know any herbs. Oh, don't worry about that. I wouldn't trust your picking skills anyway. You'll just help me carry them. This basket should do. She points to the one resting next to the hearth. Before I pick it up, I give myself a quick look. The dress is awfully expensive, and Vul did ask me to take good care of it. Should I change? I split out my arms and she chuckles. For what other occasion would you save up a silk dress, if not to frolic in the woods? I know I'm not your wolf of choice when it comes to frolicking, but you'll have to do with me. I snicker at another of her jabs. Oh, I really don't mind, trust me. Mind? She blinks teasingly. You should be thrilled, but I suppose I have to take what I can get. The female laughs, finally opening the door. I think some fresh air will do you good. So do I, actually. For a moment, I consider taking the dandelion with me, but quickly decide not to. I don't want to draw more attention to it than necessary. I simply grab the basket and follow her outside. I find myself staring curiously as she approaches the steps. Is she gonna trip, or... A smile appears on my face as the female jumps over the uneven stone, clearly aware of that little fault. I guess they all were frequent visitors to Rannick's house. I hate doing this, but considering your situation, we should parade through the main village. We need the wolves to see that you are simply working elsewhere. She sighs uncomfortably, proceeding to walk towards the town. Vul really carries a lot of weight in the tribe. We cannot allow others to think you displeased him somehow. Okay. I nod, following beside her. I did more than displease him, that's for sure. We stroll slowly, our pace almost now naturally sluggish as to give as much time for the passing glances. Verissa is very intent on us being seen. In truth, it feels rather weird, but also a bit exciting to be shown off like that. I straighten up and ensure my step is dignified. I want my wolf to be proud of his ward. My hand instinctively reaches to Rannick's crest on the collar. It became quite a comfort, despite me trying my hardest not to enjoy wearing it. Since he departed, I even slept in it. Considering I didn't take my dandelion with me, it's the best memento I currently have. And much more discreet, that's for sure. No one's here. Good. The female sighs in relief as we pass by Vithir's house. I'm not really sure what to make of both hers and Vul's reluctance towards the male. He seems rather fine to me. But any pondering of that nature are immediately blown away as we enter the main square. To my dismay, we're headed straight for the butchery. I want to ask her what she's doing, but the female beats me to the point. No matter what's going on behind the scenes, we must keep up appearances that you two are fine with each other. While not being on a physical one, I very much feel like a dog pulled by a leash towards the vet. The closer we get, the more I want to break free and run away, but with so many eyes on me, all I can do is obediently follow. Vul? She stops at the counter, tapping at it impatiently with her fingers. What? Ugh! That little bitch came schooling to you, didn't it? The male snaps almost immediately upon spotting me. No, not really. Should he? Huh? He's caught off guard, giving me a surprised look. I bet he was moaning about... His voice wavers ever so slightly as his eyes dart for a moment to the bruise on my neck. How badly I mistreated him. Again, should he? She reiterates, causing him to give me another confused look. He didn't tell you? Tell me what? That you went overboard during a playful spar? A spar? He's so full of shock that he's almost blowing it, and I have to intervene, flashing my eyes at him. He just grabbed me into a friendly lock, that's all. I mutter discreetly. A likely excuse to brutalize someone quarter your size. The blood-red irises do not lose me from focus, even for a moment, his gaze drilling into me for answers. It's called character building. The wolf finally stammers, obviously struggling to understand why I didn't tell on him. Be it as it may, you shouldn't have dismissed him like that. It doesn't look good. Rannick left him in your care, and yet I found him today, fed by Cor and watered by Tano. I blink, uncomfortable with her word choice. Wait, that last one came out wrong, but you know what I mean. Can't we even trust you with such a trivial thing? She sighs in frustration. If you're such an alpha, one would think you'd be looking after a tiny otherkin would not be beyond your capabilities. Fine, I'll make sure he has food from now on. Vul spats in annoyance, grabbing a hatchet and turning away. That should go without saying. But it's more than that. You were meant to keep him company. Ugh, you always come chewing my ears off. It's almost like your hobby. If it wasn't the piglet, it would be something else. He sneers, chopping off a large piece of meat. Seriously, he needs to learn when to put a sock in it. Never mind. Verissa waves her paws, clearly losing interest in continuing the spat. I'm going to play the den mother and take care of it, as I take care of everything else. That's my job. Right, fool? Your words, not mine. He scoffs and she nudges me to move away. Come. We walk at a brisk pace, Verissa clearly trying to get out of the village without running into any more distractions. I'm not dumb, you know, she mutters, giving me a rather displeased look, and I raise my brows in surprise. I know something went down between the two of you, and whatever it was involves that bruise, but... The female sighs reluctantly. I will trust that you know what you're doing and won't press for details you clearly don't want to give. Just be careful with him. I smile awkwardly, placing a hand on her shoulder in gratitude. She's definitely the more mature of the trio. We continue to meander between different huts and cottages, the female ensuring we avoid as many passers-by as possible. Eventually, the houses give way to grass and shrubs, followed by tall and ancient trees. As you push through the greenery, I look back. Seeing enough distance placed between us and the village, I finally feel comfortable enough to speak again. I don't want the conversation to linger on Vul, however, so I'm looking for a quick change of subject. When Verissa reaches to correct her lover call with her collar, I get an idea for a somewhat natural seg. It's also an opportunity to sate my own curiosity. I was meaning to ask, I mutter, drawing her attention as she bends away one of the low-hanging branches. What's that about? I ask idly, nodding towards her neck, causing her to give me a confused look. You're the only wolf I've seen wearing a collar. That's because I'm a ward, just like you. Oh, a what? I tilt my head in slight disbelief. I serve at behest of our ancestors. I'm at their beck and call. Her voice carries a hint of pride as she caresses the leather strap on her neck. The collar is meant as a reminder of my duty and link to them. Just as yours is a reminder of your duty and link to Rannoch. I touch the true silver crest with a smile. It certainly helps to keep him close, that's for sure. What about your arm? I continue my line of questioning, looking over her get up with doubled curiosity. Well, what about my arm? She muses through a smile, not even regarding me. Most wolves wear some sort of metal band on the right upper arm, but you don't. Does it mean anything? I see nothing eludes you. She smirks, giving me a slightly patronizing look. Those are arm rings. After the moonstone, I'd say they're the second most precious possession a wolf can have. Oh? Inquisitive, aren't you? Well, since I'm stuck here, might as well understand as much as I can about your people. I swat away an insect that flies annoyingly close to my face, and she simply chuckles. The rings are made from true silver, but apart from being expensive, they also represent adulthood. But you don't have one... My tone of voice wavers as I'm trying to understand the connotation. Does that mean you're not of age? Huh. Sneaky. You and Tano really would get along. She stops in her tracks, giving me a suspicious smile, and I shrug. I'm simply curious. To answer your question, I am and I am not. I blink in confusion, into which she shakes her head and continues to walk. There are several stages of becoming an adult wolf. First, you claim your name tree, and when you reach your 12th year. She veers between the trees, and just on cue, we're passing one with an inscription carved deep into its bark. When you're 16, you join a pack and claim your place within the tribe. Finally, once you turn 18, you're allowed to undertake a great feat, which, if completed, will enable you to claim your armband. A great feat? For males, the great feat is a task tailored by our shaman specifically to test the mantle of a youngling in question. Some have to remain standing in a combat circle for a full day. Others have to kill an impressive beast. Some others still have to survive winter in the wilds all on their own. I narrow my eyes, immediately wondering what Rannoch's great feat was. Vul's definitely the one who killed an impressive beast. Or perhaps he survived a grueling gauntlet, standing tall in defiance of all the others. I bet that would leave a lasting impression on the tribe, perhaps even explaining why everyone's scared of him shitless. I'm hoping my wolf doesn't have to do anything too drastic. But then again, nothing she mentioned sounds overly tame. All of this seems incredibly harsh. Verissa ponders my assessment for a moment and nods in reluctant agreement. However, her words don't match her concession. Perhaps, but the tribe tries to weed out weakness as early on as possible. At the same time, the feat is never meant to ask more of the wolf than he can possibly accomplish. I feel reluctant posing the question that's on my mind. I don't want to embarrass her, but at the same time, my curiosity is more piqued than before. Verissa seems quite capable, so the lack of her ring is pretty perplexing. So, why didn't you complete your feat? Females are a different matter entirely. We're considered of age once our flower blooms. Your flower? Despite her not stopping or facing me, I can see her form falter slightly, and it's clear she has cringed a little. Please don't make me spell it out for you. Oh! I exclaim in sudden realization. Okay, I get it. Bees and storks and such. A conversation every kid and their parent dread. That's why we have sex ed at schools, so that we can cringe at strangers instead. We walk in the awkward silence of my own making. I should really read more frequently into her poetic license, especially when talking about the embarrassing subject matter. The female stops next to a large tree, touching its bark. She trails the length of a green growth and then checks her paw pads, giving them an idle lick. Young lichen. Should be good. I watch as she retrieves the crude blade and pokes gently at the bark. The key is not to expose the naked wood, otherwise you'll harm the tree. I just want the top layer. She explains, and I nod understanding. The name tree or not, they always revere their forest and treat it with the utmost respect. The female struggles for a moment, but eventually detaches a sizable chunk. She breaks it into smaller pieces, depositing them neatly inside her bag. Once she's done, we're on the move again. I was quite convinced we'd abandoned the subject, but that's when she picks it up again. Anyway, males have their great feat decided by a shaman. That's why it's so important that a shaman has both the insight and foresight. She speaks casually, continuing our trek through the wood. However, our great feat was decided by nature a long time ago. According to our customs, there is no greater feat of strength than to give birth. Only once a female has her first litter, she earns her arm ring. Simply put, unless you bear pups, you're not really considered an adult she-wolf. I frown uncomfortably. It almost sounds like a soccer mom club, snobby mothers telling you off for not knowing anything because you have no kids. You don't know what doing laundry means until you have children. I hated those. That seems a bit unfair, I mumble, quite confused by this arrangement. I guess. She shrugs. Though, by the way my mother spoke of it, giving birth does seem like the most horrifying and wonderful thing a female can go through, so I'm not that bothered by any perceived inequality. I concede through a nod, but then another thought hits me. Wait, but you're set up to mate since pups. Why didn't you, I can't believe I actually went there. I struggle to fully verbalize the question, but thankfully she gives me a knowing look, and I don't have to. Is your mate not of age? Or is he, like in Vul's case... Oh, he's of age and alive, all right, but there were some complications, she states indifferently. We cannot mate until both sexes go through their coming-of-age ceremony. Actually, you didn't mention the coming-of-age as part of becoming an adult wolf. Because it's not, really. It's more of an affirmation. She holds off of a reaching bush, waving at me to pass through. Okay. When you complete your great feat, you only prove that your body reached adulthood. Coming of age is meant to test the spirit as well. Each wolf gets a summon on the eve of their 21st moon. They get cleansed, they meditate, and they receive full spiritual guidance. Ceramic is 21, give or take. I mean, lunar calendar is a few days short. Again, just like the great feat, the instructions are specific to each wolf. Once undertaken, the coming of age connects us with our ancestors and signifies that we carry their favor. Only then do we become full-fledged members of the tribe. And only then can we mate. We need to be ready, body and soul. The female stops to inspect a group of conchs sprouting from an old elm. She carefully cuts one off and puts it into her bag. Despite flowering, I still had to wait until I finished my ceremony, but by then I became a shaman. And one of the better perks of becoming anointed by the spirits is that all earthly claims on you become null and void. So yes, my mate is of age. Bit displeased, I'm sure, but of age. Wait, so why does Vul pursue you then? What do you mean? Isn't it obvious? No, not really. I thought you said being a shaman made you celibate. Oh, moon, no! She chuckles. It just means I'm the one calling the shots now. I'll mate with whom and when I choose. And this is where we arrive at the other reason behind Vul's reignited infatuation. Shortly after he gained his freedom, that's when our shaman fell ill. More importantly, his actual apprentice at the time was Andalt, not me. But the shaman had a vision where the ancestors named me his successor, sidetracking years of training and tradition. The female takes a deep sigh, almost as if it wasn't a pleasant memory. With that one announcement, he has uprooted my entire life. But at the same time, he gave me freedom. Vul took it as destiny clearing a path for us to be together. And you don't? I nearly scoff, confused to hear her say that with such irony. Just because we both got freed from our matches at the same time doesn't mean... Ugh, you wouldn't understand. The female waves her paw dismissively, but I just give her a stern look. I understand that you of all wolves should see how crazy of a coincidence that is. Fate or not, I'm not going to ignore who he is. Vul is unbearable. As a friend, I couldn't wish for a better wolf at my side, but as a soulmate? She snorts ironically. No. It almost seems like she does feel something towards the male. At least the exasperated disappointment suggests she's not entirely dismissive of him. Vul does make for a good companion. He just gets in his own way too often to let any good faith bloom. That's because he doesn't know how to share his feelings, I mutter, drawing her attention. I think he just believes he has to act tough and rough because that's what he's expected of males around here. Even Rannoch has this weird attitude that a male has to be all that. If he cares so much about me, then he should know that's not what I expect of him. I need a friend, not a lover, and with him, it's always one or the other. What if he could be both? I propose a question and she nearly chokes. She looks at me stunned for a moment, but then lets out a mocking laugh. Ha! That would be the day! I try and nod in agreement, despite the irony in her voice. I appreciate you speaking of him kindly, especially considering the badge of his esteem you bear on your neck. But one cannot keep explaining away certain behaviors. At some point, it just becomes wishful thinking. Or worse yet, enabling. She lets a frown take over her expression. It lingers, and I feel slightly worried that I might have upset her, but she quickly banishes the gloom. Anyway, I am still quite young and have more pressing matters to attend to. I want pups eventually, but I am in no rush when it comes to romance. I nod with a smile and we continue our walk. She rummages through different shrubs, clearly looking for specific things. Sometimes those are berries, sometimes leaves, or simply just bare stalks. The silence protracts and I keep mulling over our little conversation. Since I don't feel like pushing further into Vul's territory, I decide to entertain my plain curiosity. This got me thinking, if the only way for a female to get an arm ring is to bear pups, what if she turns out barren? Well, I guess you answered your own question. No pups, no arm ring. Verissa shrugs. And what if the male is the problem? That's hardly ever an issue, because we mate with multiple partners. A barren male will leave a trail of dissatisfied females. Damn, an answer for everything. I cannot help but feel like their sex life has been deprived of a deeper meaning. It seems so systematic, like a process to go through to get your parking validated. It's also why a male's first mating is usually quite intense. She throws in randomly, her tail giving an idle flicker, almost as if she meant to tease me and I take the bait. What do you mean? I blurt out, trying to stop a blush from creeping onto my face. Well, there's a lot of pressure to make sure that one gets it right the first time. From the gossip, I understand that first-timers are very much in demand. The female chuckles as she inspects a bloom she had found between the roots of a large tree. They keep going at it throughout the day and night, often even creeping into the second evening, all to ensure the deed is done. How is that a good thing? I mumble, not able to imagine a 24-hour sex marathon. Apparently we females are hard to satisfy, so a male that is a long runner is very much a good thing indeed. And just like that, I feel extremely flushed. But in all honesty, it does sound quite enticing. Rennick's naked image pops into my mind, and all I can think about is him claiming me for hours on end. After all, as Vul said himself, Rannoch has stamina. Shit. She notices the shift in my heart rate and laughs. I knew you'd find this subject interesting. I look away as she kneels next to another shrub, picking through some leaves and cutting away certain branches. I mean, it's human nature, right? She blinks. I'd say just nature, but I know what you mean. I try to rein in my runaway train of thought and bring myself back to the conversation with my dignity intact. It sounds as if the length of the mating is misspelled. That's fine. It sounds as if the length of the mating is born more of desperation than passion. It's a mixture of both, Verissa concedes, still rummaging through the shrubbery. I mean, the males are 21 before they get to wet their wicks. There's a lot of pent-up energy there. Surely you've noticed. I'm not sure what you mean. I nearly yelp out, surprised she keeps pushing my buttons and the female laughs, standing up. Oh, I'm sure you're sure what I mean. She croons seductively, lifting my chin with her paw. Rannoch getting excited at the slightest of touch, Vul going mental over anything that has to do with me. They're all on edge. Oh, yeah, I mumble. I get it now. Mm-hmm. She teases one last time, finally continuing our walk through the woods. But yes, I suppose there's a bit of desperation as well. I mean, no male wants to walk out of his first mating without fathering pups. That sort of a mishap leads to uncomfortable rumors which are awfully hard to wash off. Even if he eventually sires a pup? I ask, fully managing to lower my own excitement. The more clinical this conversation becomes, the better. Well, supposedly a male failed with 2 females and suddenly succeeds with a third? She poses her own question. Less kind among the tribe might question if it was actually he who finally accomplished the task. I'm gonna save it right here. This is raunchy, sexy sex conversations with wolves. It's a weird sentence. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!